Thank you very much for joining me tonight. And thank you very much for joining me in the previous nights as well. And today's topic is about the Enterprising Association, which means the journey you're going to have in your enterprising. Who do you travel with? Who are the companions? Who are the people they're going to accompany you to travel the distance that you wanted to travel? And who is going to be supportive to find your destination? So it is a great deal of question to answer tonight, and I'm going to go to kick off with the topic right now. Uh, since we are talking about enterprising, that's a journey, and how to travel your journey, and who are the people they're going to come with you. To understand this, let me take a couple of examples tonight. All of you are grown people, and definitely, I'm sure that all of you had been growing with your parents. You had people to accompany you. You had people to travel with you. You had people, they gave you lift, they dropped you off, they picked you, they advised you, and so on. And those parents, when they look after you, otherwise your guardians, they want you to, when you're young, they want you to associate with good friends. They don't like you associating with bad guys. And they don't want you to associate every single one you see in your neighborhoods, because you become streetwise like them. So they always have a concept that my kid, my nephew, my brother, they should go out, they should associate with good people. That is what I mean by this, good friends. And all these people, if they can afford, they all want to live in good neighborhoods. They don't want to go to a bad neighborhood where you see lots of criminals around, lots of bad guys around, and so on. And those same parents, they want you to go to a good school. The reason why they send you a good school is in fundamental, we may understand that you may learn something good, you may get some university opportunities and so on. However, there's a hidden agenda behind, which is that they want you to associate with great people, great kids in the school. If you go to a big school, you always associate with great people. And further, they advise you, if you want to read something, they want you to read some good books. They want you to associate with good books. And if you are in the computer or if you are in the phone, they always want you to look into something good, something that is beneficial, some good documentary, some good video clips, some good books, some good applications, so that you can become better. That's the idea of these parents. So they want you to associate with people, with things, with softwares, with neighborhood, with schools, because to get you better. So the concept is that they understand if you associate with good things, you can become good. That is automatic. And I would call it auto magic. You don't need to work much. If you associate with good people, you are very likely to become a good person automatically. All right. The same thing applies in here. I prove this using few examples. You see, I learned one article sometimes back. In one of the Asian countries, there are doctors, they do private practices, and they work for private hospitals and so on. They don't have the proper qualification. They don't have the medical council registration. If you want to work here in the UK, you have to have the GMC, General Medical Council registration, and you have to have your qualification for it and so on. And then if you want to practice here in the UK as a lawyer, you need to be registered with the Bar Association. You need to be a solicitor or a barrister and stuff like that. There's a professional body. You got to be a member of that. And then if you want to be a pilot, the same thing applies. Now, the Asian countries story, I read one article. There are so many doctors, about 40% of the doctors they practice in the country, they don't have the proper qualification. And further, I learned there are lawyers, they practice law in the law courts. They don't have the professional proper qualification to practice law in the courts, but they all do things. I don't know if that is right or wrong. That's not the topic I'm talking about. And these pilots story, I learned about 6 months ago, there was an air crash in one of the countries next to India. After the crash, the aviation minister made a statement saying that about some percentage, he said a big percent, I can't remember how many it was. He said some percentage of these pilots, they are not qualified properly, and they don't have the proper license. They still got the opportunity to fly aircrafts, commercial aircrafts, people on board, and they go countries, they go destinations. Because of that, Germany banned that airlines for some time. I don't know if that is resolved now. My question is, how do doctors, how do these people treat patients though they don't have the qualification? How do these lawyers, they fight the case in the courts, but they don't have any qualification? How do these people, they fly the big commercial aircraft without any proper qualification? The message is, as far as you associate with the doctor, if you are a doctor and if you have your son staying with you when you're treating patients, your son is automatically a doctor. And if you have a good lawyer friend, and if you associate with him, if you visit his office all the times, whenever you have free times, you automatically become a lawyer. The reason is because the association, where what happens, the lawyer, he has the knowledge, the lawyer, he has the knowledge, the doctor, he has the knowledge, the pilot, he has the knowledge, it is automatically getting transferred. We call this knowledge transfer. It is easy. So if you want to be a doctor, my message is associate with doctors. And if you want to be a lawyer, you associate with lawyers. And if you want to be a pilot, associate with pilots. And finally, if you want to be a businessman, associate with business society. That is the key. You need to have the society, your friend cycle, they are into business. Because this is a law of association. Fools produce fools. And if you associate with idiots, they make you idiots. If you associate with fools, they make you a fool. And if you associate with a lecturer, you become a lecturer. If you associate with a businessman, you become a businessman. This is the law. The law is fools produce fools. Okay, fools cannot produce a clever man. Fools cannot produce a brilliant man. Fools cannot produce a businessman. Fools can produce fools. Simple. So look at this. While you're here, let me do an exercise. Take your mobile phone and you have your Facebook account on that. You have the Facebook app and you have your phone contact list there as well, your contact list, and you have your WhatsApp app also. Right? Look at these three things and go to that one and check how many contacts do you have, how many friends you have in your friends list in your Facebook, how many WhatsApp members and WhatsApp groups in your WhatsApp application, WhatsApp account, and how many contact numbers, mobile phone numbers, contact numbers, or other numbers in your phone. Check it. Let's say you have 1,000 phone numbers, 1,000 WhatsApp friends, 1,000 friends in your Facebook. Out of that, I have a few questions to answer. Number one question, how many of them are into business? That's the first question. And the second question, how many of them are into a business which you are interested in? Number two question. And the third question, how many of those contacts, they know you? I hope you understand my point. Let's say I have a number in my phone, so I know that guy. That is why I have taken his number. Meantime, the question is, does the guy know me? I know Sanat Jayasuriya. Does Sanat Jayasuriya know me? That's the question, right? In your business context, you may have some business people, and how many of them you know, and how many of those business people, they know you? That's the question I'm trying to raise here. And the next thing is, you have your physical friends that you meet around in your daily practice, in your day-to-day activity. Part of it, you may meet your friends. How many of the friends you meet in your workplace, maybe in your evening session, maybe in your walking, jogging in the evening, maybe when you're shopping in the daytime on a Sunday, maybe. How many of those people you associate with in your daily activities are into business? And the answer you have is, most of the times you would say very few, very less, maybe one or two. I don't have any people they into business. That's the answer you give. So my question is, if you don't associate with business people and you're associating with someone else impliedly, let's say you associate with people, definitely you have your WhatsApp account, you have your Facebook account, you have your phone and so on. Now, if you don't associate with the right people to help you to travel the journey, you are traveling with the wrong person. If you don't travel with the businessman, you're traveling with some employees, they work for some other businesses. So now, if you spend most of your time with those guys who are into a job, they are into a salary, they are into bonuses, they are into promotions, they are into annual bonuses, they are into holidays and so on, you're not going to talk something about the profit, about the business, about the investment. These are the areas a businessman talk about. You're not going to talk about those because your association is limited to the employment, right? So these are the questions I was discussing about, right? You have to answer these questions and then you would find out where you are now. And are you still okay with it? Or is your association the right association to travel your journey, travel your destination? Look at this. The next question we have to answer is about the game. What game you want to play and which league? The game I'm talking about is the business. Which business you're going to do and which level, okay? And let's say you want to play some international crickets. You want to play for your country. You want to play for India. You want to play for Pakistan. You want to play for Australia. You want to play for Sri Lanka that way. Then practicing with your local YMCA cricket club, practicing with your county club, practicing with your local district club, it is not going to take you anywhere closer to the international game. It is impossible. If you want to play with the international leagues, international games, you got to definitely associate with international players. That is why you got to play with Sanat Jayasuriya. You got to play with Glenn McGrath. You got to play with Shahid Afridi. You have to practice with Sachin Tendulkar so that you can easily meet the requirement of it. So you can easily kick off to the international ground. You can attract the people to watch you in international games. Right, so we need to know the game first, and then we need to know the league, the level of it. If you play YMCA cricket and you only can play YMCA level, you can't go beyond that. So the level is the key. The association is the key, level of association. Here's the message. If you want to be a lawyer, you need to be around lawyers, obviously. And if you need to be around lawyers, you need to become a lawyer. Okay, and this is this challenge part, because you want to be a lawyer and you have to be around lawyers. So you find one lawyer to be around. And when you go there, if you don't know the basics of law, and the lawyer cannot speak anything in terms of crimes, in terms of low court cases, in terms of bailouts, in terms of submissions, in terms of crime, in terms of anything, he can't talk anything to you because you don't know those. So you got to be a basic lawyer. The same thing applies. If you want to grow, you got to be around growing people. And if you need to be around growing people, you need to be a growing personnel. Okay, otherwise they won't allow you inside their circle to grow further. And if you want to be a lecturer, the same thing applies again. You need to be around lecturers. And if you need to be around lecturers, you need to be a lecturer. You need to be at least a basic lecturer so that you would understand what a lecturer does. A lecturer in his higher level can discuss what's happening in lecturing. He can teach you what to do. He can share his experiences and so on, so that you can learn your lecturing art. And finally, this is the message for you. If you want to be a businessman, you need to be around businessmen. And if you need to be around businessmen, you need to be a businessman. Okay, so you got to be a businessman, a basic businessman, so that you understand the business transactions, business purchasing, business operations, business related, every single transaction. You can at least understand what a businessman talks about. So it is immediate recommend for you. If you want to be a businessman, you have to become a businessman immediately, into the basic level of it at least, and find out some big businessman and associate with him. And the same thing applies in here. Let me tell you that what if you associate with me? I have my people in here in this session now. I have few of my lecturers whom I trained. They wanted to be lecturers when they studied the BBA degrees and when they studied the MBAs. And I helped them and they associated with me, and I transferred the knowledge I had, the experience I had, and they're comfortably lecturing now. Right? And if you want to get a master's degree, if you associate with me, I can help you with it because I know what to do, then I'll help you to do, and you can get it done easily. And if you start a business, I can tell you what to do because I have started a few businesses and I have failed in a few businesses, and I'm trying some successful businesses as well, so that I can easily transfer, I can easily tell you what to do. Okay, so you have to find your things, because the personnel you work with, the personnel you associate with, the personnel you travel with, they decide the destination you go to. If you travel with someone and they decide where you go to, They decide the speed of your journey. They decide where do you stop your journey in between. Whenever the stops you wanted to, they decide. And the speed of it, the direction of it, every single thing they decide. So it is better for you, it is good for you, it is very, very crucial for you to select the right association, right businessman, so that you can travel the distance with him so comfortably. Okay, an example would be, let's say you want to go to London from Sri Lanka, and you take your flight from Sri Lankan airport, and then you want to land in Heathrow Airport in London. Now, you never go alone, and you go with someone, and you never go with someone, they've never been to that destination. You go with someone, they have been to the destination several times. The pilot you travel with, he has been to the destination several times before. So without any interruption, he will land you safer in Heathrow Airport. Okay, so that's the idea of it. You need to have the right association. He decides the direction, he decides the time you reach the destination, he decides the speed of your aircraft, he decides every single thing. And if you have the right person, you don't need to worry about anything. You just simply hand over the seat to him, the driving seat to him, he will drive you through. So it is very important. Now look at this. So now we know that the association we have is the key to enter into the journey. Now, the journey we are talking about is the enterprising journey, starting a business on our own. Now, to explain this, let me take an example. There are two laws that if you want to change your association, now all of you have your network, all of you have your WhatsApp groups, all of you have your friends circle. There's no doubt about that. Now, the first question you ask yourself is that the right crowd I'm associating with? Is it going to be any helpful to me to travel my distance, to travel the journey? If you find that, no, the crowd I'm into is not the right crowd so that I can reach my destination, that is the wrong crowd. So you have to think of adjusting, you have to think of changing that association immediately. To do this, to understand this, let me take an example here. Now, if you're a drunkard, you always take alcohol. Always, you know, alcoholics, they always have an association. They always go with friends at the club. They always take a bottle with a couple of friends because they're all alcoholics. So it is easy for you to enjoy, share your bottle. Now, if you want to come out of this bad behavior, to enter into something good, an alcohol-free life, you may be 35 years now, and you are into alcohol, and the remaining life you are thinking of an alcohol-free life. To do this, you have to immediately do one thing. You never stop the bottle, you stop the people you associate with. Stopping the bottle is easier, and it's not going to work because you stop the bottle when you're alone. When you see the people around once again, you will touch the bottle again. So what you do, the first thing you do is to disassociate with those who are into alcohol. That's the first thing, law number one. You have to disassociate. And after that, it is not enough because if you disassociate with people, your time is empty now and you have enough available time so that there's an opportunity that the same crowd may get in touch with you again, or otherwise you may get some of the different parties, they may get in touch with you to take a bottle again. So what you do to fill that time, you always have to add some new association. They are not into alcohol and they are of something else which you have an interest at. Okay, let's say you need to stop alcohol because you go for alcohol in the evening. At that time, you want to go for a jogging. So what you do, you cut the association of your alcoholic network and you start developing an association with those who go for jogging in the evening so that you can easily fill that time, replacing that bad behavior into another behavior, a better behavior is totally, otherwise I would say mainly depending on the association you have. If you are an employed personnel and if you are into job, now if you are looking into business, the same thing you have to do. You have to disassociate with people. They're talking about job, they're talking about vacancies, they're talking about salary, they're talking about holiday, they're talking about per day holiday, they're talking about annual bonus and so on. They're all employees. You see, you have to associate with those guys. Whoever they're into business, they talk about business, investment, profits, enterprising, recruiting people, marketing, traveling the distance to sell something, developing some new product for my own organization, financial independence, those areas, people they speak into that one, they are the key people that you got to you got to associate with. So that what you do when you check your association. If you see people, they are into job, and it is not the right association for you, because we are talking about business. So you have to strategically cut those relationships, reduce those relationships, weaken those relationships, and take an exit from that without hurting them, and enter into an association where they talk about business. That is crucial. So if you have an opportunity, if you have an idea to enter into business, number one thing, otherwise one of the things you do is to introduce yourself to some business person, add some new association. They are into the business you have the interest in, whatever the business you are interested in, the same people, the same society, they're into the same industry. You have to add some new association. You have to associate with them. Okay. And if you already have some people in your association, they are into the same business, you may expand that. If you spend 1 hour per week, you may spend with them a couple of extra hours per week. You may spend with them one night per week, maybe a coffee meeting, maybe a coffee outing, maybe a dinner or something. And you share your thoughts. He shares his thoughts, so you can get loads of ideas from him. And if you find out someone, they are not good enough in any term to help you in your business, you may limit that association, because sometimes you can't cut it off completely. Let's say you work for an organization, you worked for that organization for 10 years, and you have lots of friends there, or all your colleagues, so that you may have to speak to them. You may have to have some contacts with them. You can't leave them behind, totally cutting the relationship off. It is not the right way. So what you do, you limit that. You cut the time off with them as much as you can. You just keep in touch with them. That is enough. And take that time and put that into the new association, or the existing association that you want to expand to become a businessman. And if there are some people in your life, they don't want you to do business. They always discourage you. They are always negative. They don't want you to be a businessman and so on. Those kind of people, it is good for you to disconnect totally. Okay, so these are the 4 things you do. If you want to become a businessman, you got to associate with business society, whatever the business you wanted to do, and you find the same society to help you with. If you travel them with, they will definitely take you to the destination you wanted to. You may be the last one, but you will still travel the destination. Let's say, if you practice with Usain Bolt, you're not going to be the number 1, right? But you're going to be the last. However, you will reach the same destination Mr. Usain Bolt reaches. Okay, there may be 12 people. You may be the last. If you run with him, you may go and reach the destination half an hour late. No problem with that. But you'll still be reaching the destination. Okay, so you got to definitely find out the right companion so that you can travel that destination. So let me give you some strategies tonight to find your way to associate with the right person. And I'm using 2 words in here. Number 1, leaders and the followers. Leaders are people, they run the business, they own the business, they are entrepreneurs, they are businessmen. Followers are the people, they work for organization, they are all employees. Now, if you go to a business, wherever the business you work for, you always have okay. And on the 7th floor, they call that floor executive floor, where all the executives, the director, the chairman, the CEO, the CFO, and all the key guys, they move the business, they are based in that floor. 5th floor, 4th floor, 1st floor, these are all for the employees and the lecturers. I was on the 5th floor, and I always meet all these lecturers there. And I meet my colleagues on the same 5th floor, and I meet my colleagues lecturers on the 1st floor as well. So that I could manage to become a better lecturer than I was. That is absolutely fine. But I never spent much time with them downstairs or on the same floor to become a lecturer, because I know lecturing a little bit better. So I didn't want to spend my time with them, but I did. I always wanted to associate with the executive floor. Though I don't go there much, I always read what they do, how do they move the business, what are they doing in terms of marketing, what are the meetings they are into. So I learn. Okay, that made me easy to start my own thing after a couple of months, and I'm owning the same thing now. Right, so you have to follow the leader. In your business, wherever you work, you always have a boss there, and you always have the employees there. In your tea time, don't take a tea with your employees, with your colleagues. Take a tea with your boss. Okay, you might think that meeting the boss is something terrible. I know that. Meeting your boss is something not friendly. I know that. And your problem is not to work for the boss for the rest of the time. You have to, rest of your life, you have to associate with the boss. You have to learn what the boss does. That's all you want. So it doesn't matter what the boss says. When he's having a coffee, just go and have your coffee next to him. Listen to what he does. Listen to what he says. Observe what he does. Right? The way he walks, the way he speaks, the way he delivers the message. Read him. Yes. So you don't worry about it. I mean, they can't kick you out from the floor. When he's going for coffee, if you go and have the coffee on the same table, or maybe the table next to that, he's not going to tell you get out. Okay, but you're learning. So right association again. Don't take a tea. Don't waste your time with the bloody colleagues. They kill your life. They'll make you as them. If you're a teacher, during the break time, you work for an international school. In the international school, there's always a chairman's office, the CEO's office, and where the CEO or the chairman or the director is based, is sitting down. And during your free period, during your interval time, what you do, you associate with your stupid colleagues. They all talk about subjects. They all talk about salary. They all talk about the lockdown because they can have some holiday with some salary. They talk about that poor things, that duppa thing in our language, the poor thing they talk about. Okay, they're not going to talk about how to bring the business to the next level, how to manage this COVID impact, how to get the next intake in January, how to bring more students here, how to bring the quality of the school to the next level so that we can get some more market shares. How can we increase the price of the student? They talk that one, the leaders, the owners, and these colleagues, they're not going to talk about that. So how are you going to become a businessman? So always select, choose your association in that term. You have to associate with the leaders, with the owners, with the directors, with the CEOs, so that you can become a CEO, you can become a director, you can become a business owner. Investment in your partnership is great because the partners you work with, when I'm calling these partners, the partners we are talking about is this. If you want to start a political party, it is right for you to start the political party with Mr. Mahatma Gandhi. And if you want to start a charity, it is right for you to start a business or charity organization with Mother Teresa. And if you want to start a business, it is right, it is absolutely recommended to you to start a business with Sir Richard Branson. That is very, very beneficial to you. Now, if you start a business with Richard Branson, the business contract is this. Maybe Richard says, Mr. I'll run the business with you, and I want to own 99% of the shares, ownership stake of the company for me, and only 1% you can have. So you can own only 1% of shares, and Richard owns 99% of it. Now the business is running. After 5 years, if you calculate your wealth, you only own 1% of your business, of that business. And after 5 years, if you calculate, if you measure your wealth, you will still be a billionaire, because Richard is the right person to associate with to run the business, and he knows the business. He's not going to fail the business. You only own 1%. Richard may be 99 times better than you, 99 times wealthier than you. That is fine, but you'll be wealthier, definitely, because he will definitely take you to the destination wherever he is. Now, these two guys are no more, and he is alive. Now, let's say if you want to associate with these kind of personalities, you don't have an opportunity to associate with, but you have an opportunity to associate with the evidences, whatever they have left. An example, they have left lots of books, they have written lots of books. We have lots of incidents that took place in their life. We have lots of stories that we can learn from, so that we can learn what they did and we can travel the destination they traveled. And meantime, if you want to associate with Richard Branson, it may be difficult for you to find an appointment, to get an appointment to meet him, to get a time to spend with you. It may be difficult, impossible. So that you have an option. If you can associate with the books he wrote, you're almost associating with him. So if you can't associate with the right person or right guy, all you do is to associate with all the documented evidences, stories they have left behind or they have made. They're all available to you, and associate with them so you can easily pick the track of them and you can travel the distance, the journey, the road they follow through. I tell you one more message in here. Invest in mentors. In 2007 or 12, I can't remember the exact date, when Mr. Donald J. Trump was a businessman into realty, into property, and he was not the president of America, USA. He may be into politics at that time, I don't know, but he was not the president. At that time, he was a businessman. And he made a speech in an event, in a network, in a business event, 1 hour speech. For that, he got paid 1.5 million USD. To make 1 hour speech for business community, to advise, to train them as to what to do. If you want to build your property business, he charged 1.5 million USD. You can Google that. There's a reference ads, sure. Now, people, they paid a huge amount of money. And after the meeting, people, they were discussing in between, was the meeting worth it for the price we paid? Because the ticket they sold, that was the money they paid Mr. Donald J. Trump. So the people, whoever they participated in the meeting, they spoke among them saying that the money was worth it. Whatever the money they spent, it was worth it. So see, if you meet a business person for 1 hour, and you pay a lot of money, and they make a big impact in your life, 1 hour of association with the right person, they can put you on the other side of your business. Okay, and I tell you one example here. There was a dentist in USA, and one of my favorite authors, I read this article from his book, and he said he used to go to a dental center, where the dentist is into the cosmetic dentist. He's into cosmetic surgeries of dental, whatever things. So now he regularly visited for his own clinic. Once he went there, and the doctor was not there. So then he asked the other doctors, whoever they were available, where is that doctor I used to consult here? They said he sold this business and he went off. Then he asked the story, why did he sell this? And then they said, the doctor, he went to Thailand for a training, 1 week training into the cosmetic surgery, 1 week's training into cosmetic surgery. And he went to Thailand about 3 years ago. Then he learned all of those, and then he came back to his clinic and he introduced what he learned. He applied what he learned, and he charged a lot of money, and he became a billionaire. And meantime, he was better off with what he was earning. And the price of this dental center, dental surgery, it went up. Then he sold that to me and he retired well early. 1 week of association with an expert who is into cosmetic surgery. You paid the money, you traveled across the world. You came from the the western end of the world, from America all the way down to the eastern part of it to Thailand. And then you learned it for 1 week, and then you went back again. When you go there, the investment you made, the association you learned the things from, that made you a billionaire. 1 week of association that make you to retire about 10 years or 20 years well early, before the usual time the others, they retire. Okay, so again, I'm establishing the right association of 1 week, because to learn this cosmetic surgery, if I do that, I may take 2, 3, 5-6 years, then I can deliver everything in 1 week time to someone to transfer that. So I took 6 years and I transfer that in 1 week, and then you can get everything what I learned over the last 6 years in 1 week time. Then you will be meeting my level. So it's easy. So association, you can do your own business. You can do your business on your own. You learn everything, trial and error. You learn, you take your time. And that's not what I'm talking about. If someone has traveled the distance, ask him, he will tell you how to go and immediately reach your destination. The person who went to the UK from Colombo for the first time, he could have taken longer time. And if the guy goes for the second time, he will definitely reach it much quicker than what he did in the past. The same thing applies to you. You travel with the businessman, and then he will take you to the destination very, very quicker at a smaller cost. The next strategy I would say is this. When you want to grow in any term, here we are talking about enterprising, grow yourself as a businessman. You always have to find your competitors. Americans, they grow because they compete with China. Chinese, they grow because they compete with Americans. Chinese, they grow because they compete with UK. UK, they grow because they compete with Americans. UK, they grow because they compete with China. And the competition I'm talking about here is not to destroy the opposition, but to grow, mutual growing. Let's say you study something and your wife studies something more than that. So that you study more than your wife, and then your wife study further, and both of you grow. Okay, so you find the right competition. In my case, I'm competing with people that have 20 years of experience in my field at the moment. Okay, and I'm sure that I'm not going to make the money the way they make, and I'm sure I'm going to hit the destination they hit in a while. I'm sure about it. Okay, so I'm traveling with the people, they have 20 years of 25 years of experience, and I'm having a tough competition. I'm not going to make the revenue they make, but I'm traveling the same direction of them, so I'll be definitely hitting that target, maybe a little later. Okay, so find your competition. And another message, I'm talking about association. Association is about the frequent relationship you have with the people to accompany you, to be your companion in your journey. There's another one called business networking. This is a different topic that we're going to discuss later. That is another different topic, standalone topic. I'll be touching it later in life. The network is about that you have contacts in your phone. Let's say, if you open your phone, if you go to the contact list, you can find some doctors' numbers. Now, these days, you can't walk away from your home to meet a doctor. So what you do, you call your doctors. If they're your friends, you call them and find out, brother, my mom is sick, my dad is sick, my baby is sick, or I'm sick, I need some consultation. So you do that over the phone. And after the consultation, you don't see the guy again until you get sick again. That is what networking is about. You have your network and you get use of it whenever you want it. It doesn't transfer you any knowledge. If you speak to this doctor once in a while, you're not going to become a doctor. But if you want to be a doctor, that is more than that. You got to associate with the doctor. You got to go and visit him. You got to go and sit down with him. You have to go and sit down in his dispenser. You may be a dispenser that dispenses medicine. You may be able to read some of his prescriptions. Then finally, you become a doctor to write prescriptions. So that is association. So association is a very close, very, very frequent relationship that transfer knowledge among people. So I'm not talking about this tonight. I'm talking about this. So now we are all sure that we need to have people to accompany with travel the journey. If that is the case, who do we travel with? We need business advisors, because we are talking about business. We need business advisors. We need legal advisors. We need technology advisors. We need purchasing advisors. You need marketing advisors and many more different parties. So you have to find all of those, whoever you need to travel the journey. You need to have them. And it is what I'm calling your personal board of advisors, personal advisory board. Every single one, you have your personal advisory board. Today, I have one student here. I think his name, I forgot actually. He is one of my students. He called me today at about 4 o'clock and asked me, sir, I have completed my high national diploma And he introduced him myself, saying that I'm so and so, I studied this from you and so on. And I have completed that. The next level is to do a degree. And I have 2 university options. Which university options should I go to? He asked me. Okay. And I was so busy preparing all these things, all these materials to deliver tonight. And when he asked me, I stopped everything and I said, nice to speak to you after a long time. And in my opinion, that university is better than this university. And I advised him, because I'm so happy if somebody speak to me to get some advice. And I gave that for free. And when I advised him, I told him that tonight I have a session like this. If you want, please join me. Then he is in the class now. I saw him earlier. I don't know if he's there now. So because he said I'm already in, right? I sent me a WhatsApp message. So now I'm his personal board of advisor. You know, if you want to start a journey in your university, I advised him that. And if you want to start a business, I'm here to advise you. And there are so many other legends. There are so many other people. They have already been to that destination, and they are happy to help you because they feel dignified. They feel respected if you ask them for some advice, right? And there's no complaint. Nobody, no personal complaints that you ask him an advice, but they complain, you didn't ask me. Why didn't you ask me? There are complaints that way. So if you do something, there's always a complaint if you don't ask someone before you take that journey on. But nobody complains that, why did you ask me this? Because people are happy to help you with. Okay, and that is free of charge most of the times. You don't need to go to a professional businessman to advise you. There are professional business advisors and consultants. You may have to pay them a huge amount of money. But there are so many business people, they are into real business. They know the real market. They are under the knee-deep mud in their business, right? They have rolled their hands. They have the first-hand message to you, and they are happy to share those messages if you ask them for. Okay, so have your personal board of advisors. If you go to my phone, I have lots of my network, I have lots of my association, and I have my personal advisors. Whatever the problem I have, if I go to that area, I'll definitely find one of the good guys. I'm in association with anything I wanted. Okay, so the same thing applies to you as well. Now, so finding the right guy. Okay, now you need to know who do what you want to do. You need to know who does a software industry, that is what you want to do. You need to know who does a university, that is what you want to do. You need to know who produce cars, then that is what you want to do. Whatever they do, you have to know who they are. Now, finding them is easy. I tell you how. You know someone that he is into something that you want to do. Let's say you want to run a pharmacy, and you know someone running a pharmacy successfully. You know him, but he doesn't know you. You know him. Okay. Now, if you want to meet him, it may be difficult for you because you don't have any pre-contact with him, previous relationship with him. So what you do, you are here, you know someone, and that guy might know someone, and that guy might know someone, and he knows him. That is a network. Okay. I tell you an example here. I was traveling about last year, I think. Not last year, before the elections. It was a couple of years ago. I saw one of my uncles in Goldface Green. I was driving, and it was about 3 o'clock, lunchtime, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. So then I stopped the car by the road and I asked him, Uncle, how are you? What are you doing here? And he told me that I'm working in that office right opposite to the Goldface Green. That is the president's office. Then I asked him, you're already retired, and how did you get that job again? And he said, I am working with my friend, my machan, that's what the word he said. I'm working with my friend. So I asked him, okay, and who is your friend? He said, Mr. President is my friend. Then I asked him, how? He said, I was with him in the university, in the college together. So when he was about to go to the elections, I made a phone call and said, I'm surviving and I have my big family here. We are all supporting you. Then he said, okay, support me. After the elections, come and meet me. I come and met him, then I got this. Okay, right. Now, knowing this, my problem is, I need to do some business in USA. My problem, Hazir's problem is, I need to do some business in America. and I want to have the contact. I want to do some property business in America, and I want to do that business with Donald J. Trump. Okay. So I want to speak to him, and I don't have any means to contact him. What I do is easy for me. I speak to my uncle. I'm here, and I speak to my uncle here. Okay. And my uncle speak to the president of Sri Lanka here, and president speak to Mr. Donald J. Trump. Okay, this is how you find the association with. It is easy. There are so many strategies after that to develop that, to maintain that, to take the maximum out of it, and so on. That is coming in the next later part in a different topic. But this is how you find some contact. It's easy than any other ways. You can find them through your Facebook, through your LinkedIn, and so on. However, if you go through some personal that has some weight in it, it can work. This is what we call the social network. Social network. Okay, right. Now, the exercise. In your association, in your network, you know how many people you want to work with, and you know what other business or what is the business you're going to be in the future when you start it. To do this, if you go through your network, you always have this. Find out one person I can disassociate with that would benefit my business the most. In your network, who is the one person, if you leave the relationship from him, it will benefit your business. Maybe you might have an evening friend. You may be working for an organization where you spend your 8 hours of time in a day. And after that, when you come home, you spend your 3-4 hours till you go to bed, maybe till you go to the dinner, till you go home. You may go out and spend some time with your friends. And that friend may take 3 hours daily, 7 days a week, or 5-6 days a week. And if you disassociate with that friend, it may be beneficial to you. Because he is into drink, maybe he is into something else instead, maybe he is into some other job, maybe he is not into any of those, maybe he is a lazy person, maybe he doesn't want to be anything, he doesn't want to do anything. Then if you associate with him, then you become him. So that may be the person that you're going to disassociate with. Immediately find who that is. The next thing is, you may be in association with certain personnel, but you spend a lot of time with them. Now, this time, if you want to become a businessman, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you may have to limit the association, who they are. I'm talking about only one personal here. One limit association may make a big impact. One disassociation of someone may make a big impact. It's easy to understand. Let me tell you that. A kid, if he associate with a drunkard, one personal 1 hour per day, in 2 years time, that kid will comfortably enjoy his own drug. One personal. Okay. And if you find one guru, one pioneer, one businessman, and you spend 1 hour with him per day, and if you stay with him for 2 years, he will make a different destiny in your life. You may end up with certain wealth and a business in 2-3 years time. Okay, so that is why I'm calling one person. You may be having many persons in your life. That is absolutely fine. Okay, so you work on all of those. I'm just taking one example here. The next thing is about the expansion of association. You may have some people that you have association with. They are into business, but you spend very little amount of time with them, so that you may have to spend more time with them. That is what I'm calling. So one person in your life, they are into whatever you wanted to do. They do what you want to do, and you spend less time. Try to spend more time with them, then you will automatically reach the destination wherever he is. Maybe later, but you will definitely reach. And finally, add association, meaning if you see someone, if they do something that you want to do, if they do some business that you want to do, and if you don't have any connection with them, and find a way to associate with them. Okay, and that can make a life change in your life. Okay, and who that person is, Okay, so finally, remember, it is impossible to get to the destination you want without the help of others. You need association. I'm not calling here, association is not the employee I'm talking about, because you can't learn from your employees, you can learn from business professionals. So business professionals, they're not going to work for you. You can only associate with them as a friend, as an associate, as a partner, as a colleague, as a social network. That is what you do. And it is impossible. I don't say it is difficult, I'm saying impossible. Okay, difficult means if you try hard, you can reach it. What I say is impossible. So it is highly possible to get to the destination if you have the right association. And that is my message tonight. So find your right association. Very simple. Define your business, what business you want to involve in, and find the right personnel you want to associate with and accompany him, or let him accompany you, travel with him. And whoever they distract you on the way, cut them off. So cut whoever they distract you, they disturb you, they give you the resistance on your way, cut them off, and hold the hand of the right guy and travel the destination. I guarantee you would reach your destination. Thank you very much. I have given the message for tonight, and have a pleasant evening. Thank you.